Hello and welcome back to the second part of the webinars on social movements and the internet era. We are now going to look into, with more detail, some of the tools and social networks we use for our campaigns and social transformation processes. But first of all, we are going to quickly look into narratives, because the way we tell our story is very, very important. We actually want to reach the minds of our people and share with them our proposals for social transformation. And through stories is the best way of doing this, as well as using memes. So this is like a quick introduction to the more worldwide spread ways of telling a story, which is a hero that sets out on this transformative journey, finds all these complex problems in the middle and things he or she has to work out, but then through a learning process where he or she may meet many others, finally manages to jump over this hurdle and actually return to a different situation, which is better than the ones he or she started from. So when we are proposing the battle, let's try not only as to tell it in straightforward slogans, for example. Let's try to build a story out of it that will actually take people through this journey with us, this journey on social and political transformation. And also try and use the more emotional part of communication. We have to use joy, we have to use irony, we just have to use humor, and we have to create complicities with people. Past movements tried to connect with people only through the intellect, only through the head. We have to address the emotional parts of ourselves as well. We have to connect with the fears, connect with the anger of people. We have to turn these feelings into more positive feelings through empowerment, through joy, through happiness, through humor. And then actually also address people's intellect and ideas, sharing our proposals with them. So make it a flow, a communication that goes from down up. This is an example of our older people's movements, where they were saying that we are at the end of our lives, but we are going to be at the front line, struggling with our younger people. And we are actually going to do it using many elements that made it like quite fun to go out on the streets with them. No, this is an example of some cartoons they made about themselves. And of course, the use of memes is very, very important. No, memes are ideas that spread and catch in our cultures, and that finally become like well-known statements, so to say, or accepted widespread ideas, no, in our culture. So building a meme for your campaign is very, very important, and it's not easy, but it's one of the keys of making your communication work. The example you have there is of the housing movement in Spain, where they were proposing a new legislative law to make housing more accessible and just in Spain. And the meme was, it is possible. Look here, we're showing you what the legal proposal is coming from the citizens, but they don't want to. And this day, is politicians that have all these economical powers behind that just don't want to change the law because it's in their benefit. So this worked really, really well, and there was a much bigger campaign, of course, behind this meme, but this was like the presentation slogan of the campaign. And many times I've heard people say a meme is a simple word that is catchy. No, it is not simple. It can be very, very complex. is an idea which is resumed in a slogan type phrase that is going to be the window through which we have people jump into the more complex ideas we are actually sharing with them. But that is like the first thing you would show and put forward, no? And how do we translate all this to the social networks? How we are going to communicate through? We've built our story, we have built our memes, and now we are actually going to adapt all this to the different social networks we're going to put this information out. And each social network is different. Instagram, for example, is more of a visual social network. So we will have to have interesting work done by designers behind, for example, in order for ideas to spread nicely through Instagram. But Facebook is a cluster of groups of people that know each other and that are connected to each other by other people that know each other. So Facebook actually is quite of an endogamic social network, and we have to talk to people as if we were talking to friends, as if we were talking to people we knew, and we have to have this in mind when we actually adapt our message to be spread through Facebook. But of course, Facebook is becoming more and more difficult to use without paying. So do have in mind that it's going to become more and more limited throughout time. So we actually have to diversify and use other social networks as well. And one of the ones I highly recommend, and which is very, very powerful, is Twitter. Twitter, because we can address people that we are not necessarily connected to, and this means social media. This means mainstream media and politicians, for example. So we can actually tag or interpel directly mainstream media. We can actually talk directly to politicians in a massive campaign where lots of people suddenly ask things from them publicly, which is much more effective than, for example, sending emails to them, because their image, their social image is very important, and if we actually addressing them in a public way where lots of other people can see it, this is going to have much more effect. And there are many, many things we can do with Twitter. I'm not going to go into all the details because this could be a really long webinar if I did, but I am sharing with you some manuals and guides to tricks and tips, both in Twitter and Facebook and other social networks, which you can navigate through and enjoy and try out if you find any proposals interesting. And very important as well is to follow and evaluate your results. I have also left you there a list of tools you can use, but there are many, many others out there. Choose the ones you think are the most interesting for you and the ones you like the best, but really do evaluate, because from this analysis you will be able to do things better the next time round. And last but not least, very, very important, especially in the times we're in of repression building up more and more, is the fact that we use tools that are secure, that we are not giving away big data to corporate companies, and that we are looking after each other and the people we're working with. So I've left you here as well quite a few proposals: alternatives for video calls, alternatives for clouds, alternatives for encrypted emails. If you don't want to use PGP, there's Proton Mail that does it all for you. And also 2 big guides that talk about many things in detail, which I highly recommend. Security in a Box, for example, where you can really discover about anything you need regarding security and what alternatives tools, secure tools you can use for your online activism. So I hope you really do try out new things and go deep down into the internet to organize, communicate, and empower for social and political transformation. And that was all from me for now. And thank you.